At 6:42 a.m., on a fog-heavy Tuesday morning, the town of Harlow Creek was still half asleep, but trouble was already awake. An elderly man, frail shoulders, a weather-beaten hat, and the slow shuffle of someone who had survived more storms than he could count, stepped through the narrow entrance gate of the town's newly renovated police station. His name was Elias Trent, a 78-year-old retired surveyor. To most people, he was invisible, just another old man wandering around with a cane and a quiet smile. But to Officer Damon Price, Elias was a problem. Damon Price was the kind of officer who believed the badge was a crown, young, loud, and hungry to prove himself. The kind who loved commanding a room, even if the room didn't need commanding. When he saw Elias stepping across the freshly paved lot, he didn't see a harmless old man. He saw what he thought was a trespasser. He stormed out of the station, chest puffed, voice booming. "Hey, old man, this is restricted property. You can't be wandering around here." Elias stopped, lifted his head. His eyes had that gentle tiredness, the kind carried by someone who'd lived a long life without asking much from the world. "I'm not trespassing," he said softly. "I'm just—" But Damon didn't want explanations. He wanted obedience. "Hands where I can see them," he barked. "You're under arrest." Just like that. No warning, no conversation, no respect. Elias blinked in confusion. "Son, I haven't done anything wrong." But Damon grabbed him anyway. Roughly, unnecessarily, twisting his arm behind his back. Elias winced, but he didn't fight. He didn't shout. He didn't even raise his voice. He simply whispered, "This isn't going to end the way you think." Damon laughed. "That a threat? Add resisting arrest while you're at it." He shoved Elias into the back of the patrol car like an object. Like trash, the other officers watched from the doorway, murmuring under their breath, but no one stepped in. Damon Price ruled the morning shift with fear and ego. And today, he felt untouchable. But that feeling wouldn't last long, because what Damon didn't know, what none of them knew, was that Elias Trent had a secret, one written in legal ink and buried under decades of paperwork. A secret powerful enough to flip their world upside down. Inside the station, Damon booked Elias with unnecessary force, fingerprints, mugshot, handcuffs that cut into skin that had already known too many bruises. When the supervising sergeant walked in, Sergeant Hall, older and calmer, he froze at the sight. "Price, what is this?" "Trespasser," Damon said confidently. Caught him wandering all over the station lot. Hall turned to Elias. Recognizing him instantly, his face fell. "Price, take off his cuffs. Now." Damon scoffed. "Why? He broke the law." "No," Hall said sharply. "He didn't. And if you'd bothered to read the department's land use files, you'd know exactly who this is." Damon frowned. "What are you talking about?" Hall leaned in, lowering his voice as if discussing a ghost story. "The land this station sits on. The land the city thinks it bought 20 years ago. It never went through. The paperwork was incomplete, which means the rightful owner is still the man who inherited it." He looked at Elias with a mix of apology and dread. "Mr. Elias Trent is legally the owner of the entire station property." The room went silent. Damon's smug smile crumbled, and Elias only sighed, like a man too tired to feel satisfaction. Damon sputtered, That can't be right. He's lying." But Sergeant Hall had already opened the file drawer, already pulled the dusty, yellowing deed stamped with a date older than Damon himself. Elias Trent, sole proprietor. Damon's face went pale, and the underdog, The man he'd manhandled, mocked, arrested, suddenly became the most powerful person in the building. Elias sat quietly, hands on his cane. "I came today," he said softly, "to deliver the updated land documentation. You're planning to expand the station. Your construction crew trespassed on my land last week. I wanted to resolve it peacefully." Damon swallowed hard. Elias looked at him with heartbreaking calm. "But you threw me in a cell before I could speak." Hall glared at Damon. "Do you understand what you've done?" Damon said nothing. Hall did. "You assaulted the property owner of the station. You unlawfully detained him, and you abused your authority in front of witnesses." Elias raised a slow hand. "I'm not here for revenge. I'm here for respect, something your young officer seems to have misplaced." Hall nodded. "Mr. Trent, we will handle this." But Elias shook his head lightly. "I don't think you can." He pulled a folded envelope from his jacket. One he'd tried to show Damon earlier. Inside was not just the updated deed, but a formal notice, a termination of lease and access rights notice. In one stroke, Elias Trent could shut down the entire police station. Damon stumbled back. You can't do that." Elias stood, leaning heavily on his cane. "I can, and I will, unless things change." His voice was soft, but it carried the weight of someone who'd spent a lifetime being dismissed, ignored, underestimated. "No more abuses of power," he said. "No more arrogance. You don't get to treat people like they're beneath you." He stepped closer to Damon. Their eyes met. Old wisdom versus young ego. "Son, the moment you laid hands on me, you forgot what a uniform is for." Damon's breath shook. Elias turned to Hall. "You have 48 hours to address this officer's behavior. If you don't, the station closes. Permanently." Hall nodded, shaken. "Understood." Elias walked out of the station slowly, his cane tapping like a countdown clock. Every officer watched him leave, some in awe, some in shame. Justice had tilted. But the story wasn't over, because as Elias reached the parking lot, he noticed something strange. His truck door was open, papers scattered on the seat, a footprint in the mud. Someone had been inside, and tucked under his wiper was a note, scribbled in rushed handwriting. "You should have stayed out of this. You don't know what you've started." Elias looked back at the station. Someone inside wasn't just abusive. Someone inside was afraid of what Elias might uncover, and that fear was about to turn deadly. Elias Trent stared at the threatening note left on his windshield. The letters scrawled in a rush, the warning clear. Someone inside the station wasn't just abusive. They were desperate enough to intimidate a 78-year-old man who had done nothing but defend what was his. As he drove home, he noticed the same black SUV tailing him again, hanging just far enough back to pretend coincidence. Elias didn't panic. He'd lived long enough to know fear was a tool, one he refused to hand to anyone. By the time he reached his cabin, the SUV peeled away. But Elias already understood something deeper. This wasn't just about Damon Price. Someone higher up had something to lose. Inside, he retrieved his safe box from the floorboard beneath his late wife's sewing machine. Inside, it lay the original deed, stamped and notarized long before Damon Price was born. The missing page, stolen from his truck, had been a copy. Whoever thought they could intimidate him had no idea who they were dealing with. As he closed the box, a knock echoed through the cabin. Not a gentle tap, a demand. Elias opened the door to find a man in a charcoal suit. Sharp eyes, colder smile. "Mr. Trent," he said, "I'm Malcolm Reeves, Harlow Creek Development Authority." Elias said nothing. Reeves continued smoothly. The city has invested millions into the police station expansion. Your sudden interest in land ownership complicates things. Elias stared. The land is mine. It's always been mine. Reeves sighed, pulling out a folder. He opened it to reveal surveillance photos. Elias at his truck. Elias at his mailbox. Elias at his wife's grave. We'd like to avoid trouble, Reeves said quietly. Sell us the land, today. Clean, quiet, no conflict. Elias's voice didn't waver. You're threatening me? Reeves smiled. I'm offering clarity. Elias tightened his grip on the door. Get off my property. Reeves's smile vanished. If you refuse, others will handle this differently. Elias's eyes hardened with something ancient and immovable. Leave. Reeves stepped back. You're making a mistake. He returned to his car and disappeared down the dirt road. Elias's cabin fell silent, but only for a moment, because as he walked back inside, he heard it. The unmistakable sound of tires on gravel, multiple cars, then doors slamming. Fast, hard. Elias moved to the window. Flashlights cut across the trees. 5 figures walked toward his cabin. Some masked, all armed. Damon Price was among them, face twisted with rage and desperation. Elias whispered, So this is what it's about. Damon stepped onto the porch. You ruined everything, he growled. All you had to do was sell. Elias looked him dead in the eyes. All you ever had to do was act. Like a man with a uniform, not a child with a gun. Damon lifted his weapon. This ends tonight. But before he could take a single step, floodlights snapped on. Red and blue sirens howled through the woods. A dozen sheriff vehicles roared into the clearing. Officers jumped out, weapons drawn, commanding the intruders to drop their guns. Damon spun, shocked. How did... Elias raised his wrist slightly, revealing the tiny emergency GPS pendant his daughter had given him years ago. A simple squeeze had alerted the county sheriff directly. The sheriff himself stepped forward. Damon Price, Malcolm Reeves, and all parties with them. You are under arrest for conspiracy, trespassing, armed intimidation, and attempted assault. Damon's face collapsed, the reality crushing him. This wasn't supposed to happen. Elias stepped onto the porch, cane steady, voice calm as a morning tide. Son, every bad thing you did to yourself. Reeves tried to run. Officers tackled him instantly. Damon dropped his weapon, trembling. The badge that once made him feel invincible. Now, nothing more than a piece of metal on his chest. Elias approached him slowly. Their eyes met. Power doesn't come from a uniform, Elias said softly. It comes from character, something you threw away the moment you put those cuffs on me. Damon looked down, defeated, broken. The sheriff nodded respectfully at Elias. Mr. Trent, you'll need to come in to give a statement, but I want